Welcome to Mr. Getz's Flipped Classroom. I am going to be going through in 10 minutes. You just heard that beep. The reason for the beep is because I'm taking 10 minutes to go through a slideshow that you had seen in class, and I'm going to be talking about some of the facts that you may want to note. One of the assignments is to come up for the week with 10 facts that you had seen in the slides here. So just clicking through some of these pretty quickly. Legal responsibilities, there are some things that you can do on your phone that will land you in Manor Municipal Court. There's also some things on your phone that may not end you up in court, but it's ethical considerations. So if you take a photo of somebody and they ask you to delete it, please delete it. You're already thinking to yourself, what in the world is going on? Well, this is called legal and ethical responsibilities in information technology, and what I am going to attempt to do is to make it a little bit more kind of relevant, to have it kind of jump off the page a little bit for you. So rules which mandate or prohibit certain behavior. So there's rules that are going to be rules at home. There's going to be rules when you're outside. There's going to be rules that happen on campus. And the members of a society create balance. And there's going to be a little bit of negotiation to see what the rights of somebody is versus if something a person is doing is affecting somebody else, right? Important U.S. laws, Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, whatever. Like, this is from 30 years ago. So it's like, I'm sure there's probably some parts of it that mean something today, because this is where history kind of came from. But when you look at the Federal Privacy Act of 1974, have there been updates to it? So for years now, people have been taking photos on their phone. It's got GPS data, and they put that photo online for people to see. Did that happen in 1974? No, none of that technology existed then. So what I'm curious to see, and one of the facts that you may include in your work for the class would be to see how the act has changed and been revised since then. Identity theft. Have you ever picked up somebody's phone and started texting somebody and you were pretending to be them? That's an example of identity theft right there. Intellectual property, whale, that's kind of if you write something on a piece of paper, it actually is copyrighted and it is your intellectual property. Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Everybody's eyes glaze over when they hear that. It's just like, I'm tuned out, I'm done. Next. CFA Act, okay. Computer Security Act, well, first attempts to protect federal computer systems. So this was if systems could be hacked or finding information, and it ties in a little bit to privacy. So we had this in '87, so looking at privacy once it comes to computer networks and computer systems. Bureau of the Census. The 2020 census is coming up, and I think they're hiring last time I checked. So what happens with the census if people are underreported? So if there's not a head count of everybody who's in the household, what does it mean to school districts? What does it mean to taxpayers? What does it mean for voting? What does it mean? There's so many different implications if that number of people is overreported. What if the number of people is underreported? There's so much here. Immigration is a huge issue right now in our country. National Archives, Records Administration. Last time I checked, I think Google is trying to take over like part of like the healthcare industry. What? So as you're looking through these slides, what I want you to be doing is Googling some of the things that are here. So identity theft, what is it? Do you know of somebody that this has happened to? How do you prevent it? And then this was 21 years ago. What updates have there been to this? This stuff is terrifically relevant to everyone's lives now. A new type of vending machine. Down on 6th Street in Austin, there is a audio cassette vending machine, right? Talks about computer programs, novels. Copyright, a trademark is like a logo, like Nike logo or Adidas logo. Open source, Linux is spelled Linux. Just Google Linux. If you've got a great idea and you want to share it with somebody, have a non-disclosure agreement so that way somebody won't take your idea. But I really believe that ideas are one thing, but lots of times it's the execution of the idea that, or the doing the idea is the thing that kind of has the most value. So fair use is a thing. There's 4 different things that mark if something is fair use or not. So you just can't say, oh, I'm a student, fair use, education, fair use. That's not a one and done solution. Copyright is basically following 95 years. That's how old Mickey Mouse is. So we want Mickey Mouse to, well, I shouldn't say we, some people want Mickey Mouse to not be in the public domain. So this keeps getting extended longer and longer. Copyright Office, copyright infringement, here's some trademarks, Nike swoosh, Facebook F, Apple with a bite mark. Okay, trademarks, great. So I don't mean to be covering all this material because all you're really doing is you're going to be pulling 10 facts, either that you've done already, you've seen in class, or if you haven't had the chance to see these slides, this video is for you to take a look at and then to go ahead and do that work. Again, this is Linux right here, Linux. Take a look at it because we have expensive Apple computers, we have expensive Adobe software, and when you graduate, you may or may not have access to it, right? I don't have access to it at home myself. So open source is another way to be spending your time doing work here. If the reason you're not doing work is because when you leave this building, you don't have access to the tools. So open source is a little bit of a democratizer when it comes to technology, media production. Copyleft, Creative Commons is wonderful. It's machine-readable copyrights where artists put up front what you can do with their work. And again, this isn't, I don't want you to be seeing every single thing on these slides. Feel free to pause it and to see what the slide says, and then see where you want to go from there. Non-disclosure agreement, I talked about. A lot of these, so net neutrality, would we want a phone call to have preference over somebody watching a YouTube video or a video game, right? So the principle in which the internet service providers and governments regulate the internet treat all data the same. So one argument against net neutrality would say, yes, we do need to privilege certain types of communication, and that would put a phone call being more important than somebody playing a video game, for example, right? And there's going to be arguments on the other side that say why the internet does need to be neutral in terms of the traffic that's on it. Internet censorship. When you Google something in China, what comes up? When you Google something in the United States, what comes up? Open source. I like this one a lot. That's why I keep coming to it. Violence. Some gray areas, such as violent actions influenced by video games. This is the crux of studying communications or studying radio, TV, and film. And what that is do video games influence human behavior, or does human behavior influence video games? So what I mean by that is, does the media reflect society, or does society reflect what they see in media? Huge questions here. What do you think? Maybe put that as a fact. A fact could be something that you believe, and that's what you turn in for your work. So this is one slide. Just Google planned obsolescence. Google planned obsolescence, please. So here's some ethics, and right here, they look happy, she looks sad. Bullying, inappropriate computer use, cyberbullying, don't do it. See something, say something. Use of the computers here, don't use company email to spread inappropriate websites, and then use company computers to complete personal tasks. So get your classwork done first. Defamation, invasion of privacy, cyberbullying, don't do it. Unethical behavior. There's cultural differences. This is a big one. So different things mean different thing to different people. So when somebody says, could you put the saucer in the cupboard? That also means, could you put the plate in the cabinet? So there's different words people use and different customs for sure. Keep going here. I think we hit about the 10-minute mark. That's what that beep was. Teaching ethical values, clear code. So this is kind of some of the social contracts that we do in the classroom. And this whole PowerPoint, I mean, this whole thing can be done in like 10 minutes. Thou shalt not use a computer to harm others. Thou shalt not interfere with other people's computer work. Snoop around in other people's computer files. Nice. So some pretty good stuff here. So my name is Mr. Getz. You've been watching a flipped classroom video where I've been going through a PowerPoint presentation that should have been shown in class, discussed in class, and Googled in class, and this is what it is called: Legal and Ethical Responsibilities in Information Technology. The classes accessing this information are computer programming, practicum and infotech, and digital media classes. Thanks for watching.